Jerry Brown here with Jerry Brown Travels. I just walked in this evening and I went over to my laptop. I was going to answer some questions on YouTube and my Facebook and reply on some of my emails. Well, I had a comment right away on my YouTube channel was asking what did I know about the two buses that were just burnt in Cancun, Mexico. I hadn't heard anything about it, so when I Googled, did a Google search and didn't find out much. They talked about two buses that were burned and that there wasn't anybody that was injured or killed, and that's great news. What experience do I have? And that's something I want to share with you in this video, how we've been in two situations like that where there were towns that we were visiting and there was buses that were burned. And so the first situation, now this dates back probably about 7 years ago. And we were in Pátzcuaro, Mexico. And on Pátzcuaro, Mexico, it's a small little town. And they have two plazas there. Oh, wait a minute. Let me show you on the map here. And I think this will give you a better idea what it looks like. Let me show you on the map here. Okay, this is the little village, the historical part of Pátzcuaro. Okay, this is a main street here coming in, and it goes around like this, and this is a plaza here. And what it does is it comes up like this, and there's an exit out of here, or you can go this way. So what they had done, they burnt a bus right here, which is blocking any traffic coming this way or any traffic coming this way. Then down here at this plaza, right in here, they put another bus. And this is where we were staying. We were staying right over here across the street from the plaza. So any traffic coming in here would be blocked. Any traffic trying to get into this area in here, coming this way would be blocked, or trying to get out would be blocked, or anybody coming in this way, it would be blocked. So basically, they've isolated this whole area right in here. Okay, then the buses that they put along in here, they put one over here, so they blocked any traffic coming in, going this way or going this way. And then over on this side, over in here, also main traffic comes in like this, and they put another bus here, and they blocked it right there. So they had 4 buses blocking the entrance into this historical part of Pátzcuaro. And so they actually were able to block the whole village off just like that. Now, Lori and I, we were staying there in a hotel right at the plaza. We were having dinner, and all at once the staff in the restaurant, they were running out and looking, out front to see what was happening. Where we were sitting, we were in the very back of the restaurant. We couldn't see outside towards the plaza. Well, they kept running back and forth. And so we called over the owner and said, hey, what's going on? And he says, well, let me go check. And he comes back and he says, you may want to go up to your room because there's some trouble going on in the plaza. So I says to Lori, hey, let's get out of here, because where we are staying is a very old hacienda. In other words, they have walls that are like about, 3 feet thick. And so my thinking is, if there was any friendly fire, if there was any gunshots or anything like that going on, I want to be in the very back up in our room. So what we did is we went up there. Well, there were some rooms that were open that weren't being occupied at the very front of the hotel. So we walked in there, the lights were all off so we could see out across the plaza. So what I was concerned about is how was the people reacting to what was going on. In other words, if the people were just casually walking in the plaza, I'd say, okay, there must not be much trouble. if people were running, you know what I mean? Sprinting to get away from there, then I'm thinking, man, we're in big trouble here. But the people were walking very quickly through the plaza and trying to get out of the area. So I didn't panic as much. So I was very grateful for that. So we went to bed. And the next morning, we decided to walk over there to see what had happened. And it was so interesting because where the bus was being burned, big fire. I mean, at night, it was a huge fire and stuff like that. They cleaned it up overnight. You could not tell even where the bus had burned because the street is like an asphalt street. And so you really couldn't tell if there was oil spilt like that. Then we walked over to the other plaza to look to see what was happening there. Couldn't tell that anything, a problem there either. So after breakfast, we decided to we were driving, so we decided to take a little road trip, and we were driving around, and we had heard from the waiter that they had burnt these 2 other buses outside of town. So we just happened to be driving by those places, and we could see those buses. They were pulled to the side, and they were, just completely burnt out. And so they were off the road and pulled to the side. So we thought, okay, this is really what happened. See, the thing that happens in Mexico, a lot of times you hear a lot of stories and you don't know if they're correct or not correct. Even my stories or my things that I tell you, I always recommend you double check it and make sure what I'm saying corresponds to what information you're getting. Let's say on all different things. I could be talking about prices of hotels. I could be talking about air pollution, or I may be talking about qualifying for a visa and what it costs. Now, always verify whoever is telling you things about Mexico, because there's so many stories that going on about Mexico that aren't true. So I'm relaying this story to you, something that we actually saw. And so we have been back to Pátzcuaro 2 times since that time. Now, what I'm trying to say here is it didn't freak me out that I was so afraid that I'm going to, stop traveling in Mexico. Lori and I, we pack up the car and we'll drive through Mexico, and we have no fear of it. It was a rare situation, and the way I see it, I'm going to call them the bad guys, okay? And the bad guys want to show the people in that village or that town that instantly they can take control of that city. And don't put too much pressure on them for them doing their bad guy business. And it's a reminder that how much control they have to close down a town. But not through violence. In other words, in a way, you would probably say it was a peaceful demonstration. It just had burnt a couple buses. That definitely got your attention. But typically, I don't like to tell stories like this because we love Mexico and we don't want people to be afraid of Mexico. But on the other hand, we want everybody to be wise of Mexico. When Lori and I travel, we don't drive at night. We watch where we are at night. If it's late, we usually try to be back in our hotel. In other words, we try not to be in bad places at the wrong time. And so we've never had any trouble, and we've only had a lot of good experiences here. And that's what I'm just trying to convey to you. Maybe when you see a story like this, it probably was a protest for whatever reason, and it does. It shakes up the local authorities to listen to the demands that maybe the opposition has, to express what they want and or don't want to have happen to them. So Mexico is a great place, all in all. And are we going to stop traveling because we hear of stuff like this? No, we'll go. I go to Cancun, It would not stop me from traveling because, again, remember, it's a rare situation that something like this happens. So just an update on what I know about it, which is zero, and I'll tell you that right now, but only expressing what we experienced in another village, another time, 8 years ago, remember? Haven't had anything happen to us since that time. And in the amount of time of 8 years ago to now, we've traveled thousands of miles through Mexico. Just recently, I saw on the American consulate, they're saying, don't travel in Mexico, especially now with the pandemic. They're saying it's not safe. They're not talking about the crime so much. They do mention that, but not so much. They're more or less talking about the pandemic because it is very, very severe down here. And so they want to make sure Americans protect themselves, so they don't recommend it. But it's starting to feel like we can travel there and everything's loose. But the truth of the matter is the virus is spreading. It's getting worse. We're not getting less cases. We're getting more cases. Hospital beds are all filled up here in Mexico. So really, for your own sake, consider the possibility of postponing Mexico for a while. Stay safe, stay healthy. Get your shots now that they're available, and that's going to protect you so much. Doesn't mean that you still can't get the virus, but it definitely will protect you and protect other people. Let's do that together. Okay, that's my little rant. That's my little story tonight. I wanted to blast this out to you because it's just popped on the news today. Okay, Jerry Brown here with Jerry Brown Travels. And you're asking, where's Lori? Where's Lori here? Well, I'll tell you, it's late at night. Lori's in the bed already, so I just wanted to blast this out to you right away. Thanks. Have any comments? Please make a comment. Let me know what you think, and give me your input or any stories that you have, maybe personally that you've personally experienced. I don't, honest with you, I don't want to hear stories that your cousin's brother's uncle Gardner said about it. I don't need that. Just tell me your stories and what you've experienced. That's really the factual information I want. That's the type of approach I do back to you, only giving you information that we personally have experienced. Again, thanks again, Jerry Brown here with Jerry Brown Travels.